longing for a taste, and you just want the chase. We drifting, too pretty from the face, a Coke bottle waste. Did I dream it? I'm feeling nostalgic, out of control. Like Venus to Mars, we out of this world. The closer we get, the farther away. Yeah, 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 yeah. You change the distance.
All right, enough of that faraway shit. Let's change the mood.
When you in the mood, it's a mood. Good girl turns back, she's so bad when howling at the moon. Like a wolf, good girl turns back, and bad comes into.
Hello.
Hey,
I'm sitting down with Marty Boombox.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
I'm good.
So you started music. When did you start making music?
Well, I started playing guitar when I was a kid, probably like 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just my mom always had the radio on in the car, just listen to stuff in the back seat. Yeah, I got really into rock and heavy metal and funk, and I just started playing guitar, and then started singing, and then I got heavily into like hip hop actually, and I did a lot of hip hop stuff for years. And I was producing and rapping, and then now I've kind of shifted gears a little bit and just started doing more of a singing project, which is the new songs I've been doing with Marty Boombox, which is more of like a funk with sort of an 80s feel, but still modern. Yeah, doing that, and it's going really well.
What are your inspirations?
Everything from other music to just circumstances in life, like different people that come in and out of your lives, traveling. I just went on an awesome trip traveling. I went to Scotland, I went to Morocco, and just being around different cultures, seeing different people, different life, and just kind of feeling that energy and trying to, keep a little piece of that, put it into different artistic visions and different songs, different subject matters,
So you said you shifted from more of the hip hop world to vocals. What made you shift?
I don't know. I feel like sometimes with hip hop, you got to really stay within a certain box and like land certain ways within the music. And singing, you can be a little more free and glide over the beat in different ways. And I was singing some choruses and stuff like that, doing hip hop. And as I did more of that, I just kind of grew more confident in my singing abilities. And from there, it was just like, hey, let's just shift gears. It was also like the pandemic hit. I had to like stop doing performances and just kind of had to take a break from, working so heavily on music, that then when I came back and was like, hey, let's get back in the studio, let's try and like start a new project. It was like, what is that project gonna be? And it was like, let's just change gears and do something completely different. Something more party vibes, just like having fun, feel good music, not so aggressive in your face, It's easier to listen to, I guess, depending on your mood.
I love that. What genre would you say your music is now?
I'd say it's like funk pop, like pop with a funk.
Have you performed live?
I have, but not the new tracks, not the new 2 ones that I just dropped. But yeah, I've done a bunch of shows doing hip hop stuff.
Hip hop?
Yeah.
What's your newest songs right now that you just dropped?
Far Away I dropped, and then Mood is the brand new one.
Mood? Okay, can we talk about that?
Yeah.
What's your inspiration behind Mood? Can you tell me your creative process behind that single?
When you in the mood, it's a mood. Good girl turns back, she's so bad when howling at the moon. Like a wolf. Good girl turns back.
Mood, it's basically kind of about, it can almost be anything that you want it to be about because it's based on mood. So that's part of what I like about it. I mean, the song lends itself to being about a girl and being in the mood for sex or being in the mood for anything. You can misconstrue it for whatever creative purpose, I think, But it's definitely kind of more from a female point of view where, when you're in the mood and then she turns into a bad girl or like, and there's like a wolf in the background.
Oh.
And this is like, hungry like a wolf, a little bit of a reminiscence to that. But it really is about just being in the mood to do whatever is attracting you.
When you're coming up with lyrics, what like inspirations do you pull to create those lyrics? Like you just said that song is about like if you're in the mood for sex. Is that like more inspiration, or do you just like think of stuff when you're traveling? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, well, then the other track, Far Away, is more about you could be in a relationship with somebody, and like a long distance relationship sort of vibe. And it's like, you know, you're on the other side of the world traveling or performing or on tour or what have you, and you know, the person you're thinking about is hundreds of miles away. And of course you have like social media and all this technology now, and there's so many ways to communicate, so you can do that. But then also it's just never gonna like be a substitution for like being in the same room in
Right.
the actual moment together. So it's kind of like bringing that up. But then also I think, you know, on the other coin, it's like sometimes when you're in relationships with certain people, it's like you guys could be close together in the same room, and then your brains are just like miles apart. Like you're not really there together. It's all how you take it. And like that was the inspiration for that song, Far Away. Yeah.
So your name is Marty Boombox. Is there a story behind that name?
My dad's name is Marty, and that's my middle name. I just incorporated that, and then a boombox is kind of like something I always liked as a kid. It was a time before all the new streaming and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of almost an Old Testament to where my music roots began, and also throwing back a little bit to that vintage era of 80s music, and it sounded cool.
It does sound cool.
So I was like, I like the sound of that.
What would you say is your biggest challenge or obstacle as a musician?
Staying inspired a lot is a tricky one, just because inspiration is what's necessary a lot of the time to make a lot of good music, you know, and just to keep the creative juices flowing. That's why I found like traveling and meeting new people and keeping new relationships coming into your life and different things like that, and trying new things, that definitely keeps you inspired. But it's definitely like I can't just sit in the studio all the time. I have to get out of it, you know. I have to go down to the beach or take a hike or do anything. You know, go for a bike ride. You get back in the studio and like, you know, it's like you got to see some life out there, and then suddenly you're like, your tank is full again. It's like,
Yeah, so
okay.
would you say like traveling around and like getting out of that box helps you like contribute to your musicality?
Yeah, 100%. And then you come back into it, and then it's like, oh, okay, like now I can sit here and really like focus on something. But you never know, like, so I come up with a lot of ideas too, just you're out and about, or when you're away from the computer, you know, so an idea pops in your head for a song or whatever, you just jot that thing down and then expand upon that when you actually get into the studio and start crafting the music, you know. Or sometimes you already have the music made, and the idea now came for that music, you know, but you didn't have it when you were sitting there. You're like, oh, I need to write lyrics to this, but they're not coming to me right now. And then it's like, you know what, just shift gears, maybe make another song, but then later those lyrics pop in your head from an experience you had. You just go with that, and usually that's like the best idea a lot of the time, the spontaneous stuff that you weren't forcing to necessarily happen.
Do you ever get like creative block or writer's block?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think you can just like browbeat yourself into like making the song either. It's kind of, that's where the shifting gears kind of helps, or just taking a break, you know. It's like, hey, let's go hit the bar and grab a drink and just like shoot the shit or whatever. And it's like, I feel like your brain is still kind of like working in the background, coming up with ideas, or even just sleeping on it for a night, you know. I feel like I come up with like the next day, I'll have all the ideas figured out just from sleeping.
Just from sleeping.
Just from sleeping. You gotta sleep on that shit.
Do you gear your music towards a specific audience, or is it just for like whoever?
No, not really. What I concentrate on is making music that I like. I feel like if you start really trying to make music for what other people want, then you lose your direction. So it's always just stuff that I think is dope.
How many years would you say you've been making music?
I've been making music for about 15 years.
What's like the biggest lesson you've learned throughout those years?
Just to make sure it's making you happy, you know? You got to set it up to where it's something you truly want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's not making you happy anymore doing it, then you're not going to be able to keep doing it. And it takes a lot of dedication and just regular working at it. If it's just a little blip on your radar and then it's something you're not going to do again later, then it's not going to last. So you really got to like keep it fun. If it's not fun, then it's just going to fall wayside, I feel like. So
Right.
That's the challenge.
So knowing what you know now, is there any like advice you would give your younger self when you were first starting out, if you could go back? Is there anything you would tell yourself?
Start singing earlier. I really enjoyed hip hop and rapping, but I don't think I realized like how well I could actually sing. So I didn't realize but that was also just working with different producers and different people that helped me to like bring that to fruition too, you know. Like I work with my buddy JP all the time, and he's amazing. And so, you know, you start to find out like which parts of your voice sound good, because there's a billion ways to sing, you know, and like honing that in, and also just making a lot of songs helps you really kind of dial in the style that works for you, your range, all that kind of stuff.
How has music changed your life overall?
I think it's kept me youthful. I think trying new things and is kind of like key to keeping you young at heart, and trying new things and just not getting stuck in the box and like feeling like, or just getting content with the things you already know, and just getting in that cycle where you don't kind of branch out and just experiment. As soon as you stop learning new things, that's when people start to get stale. That's the most effective thing that works for me, is to just always keep trying new things or learning new things.
Yeah, getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. If you're comfortable all the time, then it's just like you're not challenging yourself at all. So that's what it's about. Hey, it's Marty Boombox, and I'm here with Antidote 41.